I know that many of you are waiting for Going Medieval, so I've decided to make a Going Medieval Let's Play, which will focus on teaching the game to new players, so that anyone new to the game can catch up and understand the game. As it's a Let's Play, I'll not be editing and polishing as much as I usually do. Much faster for me to make, so let me know your thoughts as we progress. Welcome to my new series. This one's going to be a Let's Play, which is different from my usual style of sort of a more edited and polished series. But this one's going to be teaching new players. It's going to be on hard difficulty, which obviously, if you're new, don't do that. A new life, because this is kind of what you would probably do the first time you play. This is already sort of set out. So it's going to be a large mountain. The map size, generally, I would always go with large, but it really depends on your computer. It's not super intensive, this game, but it kind of can be once it gets a lot of stuff going on. Especially on hard, actually, because the size of the attacks are going to get larger fast. The seed here is what's sort of generating this, so that can be shared so that you could play this map. So you could take this seed here and you could play this map as long as you put it to mountain and large. But when the game updates, this does get changed as far as I'm aware. For here, these are your sort of characters that you would have. You can sort of roll them and things, but if you click here, you can customize them yourself, so you can individually change things. I have already some saved from Blackness, so I'm just going to load them because they're kind of well designed to be useful, is I guess the best word for it. So here we have the skills. We also have the backgrounds, which are determining the passions. I have a video explaining this. It goes fully in depth. It is kind of complicated, but you don't need to be too daunted by it. You can just sort of copy it. Copy this. So you want someone who's passionate about construction. Passion means that they'll learn faster, which is more important than having points. So you don't really need to worry about the points as much as you need to have the passion. Movement speed. Anything that gives you this movement speed is actually probably the greatest asset you can give to a character, because it just makes them be able to do the majority of jobs better. And combat especially makes them much more functional in combat, so Johnny and Kyle are kind of designed for combat as well, mainly marksman. I'm not going to focus too much on this. I have a video sort of explaining all this, and we probably just want to jump in and start learning. Okay, let's go. First thing I'll do, press space. Now I've paused it. First things first, you can press F or click here. You're going to be using these all the time. Once you learn the hotkeys, you can potentially use them, but I'll just be clicking these so you can see it as well. Now you'll notice here there's a rabbit. It's also forbidden, so that means they can't pick it up. If I can either click on it and click here and allow it, or I can do this and drag over it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click the allow, go to the corner of the map, and just drag it across the entire map. So this allows them to pick up anything across the map. And I already had a quick look at this map, so I'm aware of how it's laid out. And it's not a good map either. I wouldn't actually recommend it, but what I do want to do is just move everything here. There's a water source here, and I can sort of fortify it here quite quickly. So the first thing I'll do for that is a stockpile. Where I want to put that, I'm not 100% sure, but probably here. So this is going to have everything. I'm not going to allow carcasses. This is a bit daunting. I would just take your time, play the game, and as you go through the game, you'll learn more and more what these things are. There's a lot of information in the beginning. So now that that's done, they can move that stuff there. So it's got a place to go. But some of the stuff can deteriorate. What I will do is I will go to here, go into materials, raw materials. So salt, that's fine. We don't actually have salt, but I'll leave it in. Clay, remove that, because if clay sits outside, it's not going to have any problems. Neither's dirt, neither's limestone, neither's silver, neither's gold. In fact, I'm not going to... These do, wood does have deterioration outside, but there's other ways it can be stored outside as long as it's got a roof over it and it's on ground that's not bare earth or bare stone or whatever, which is exactly what I'm going to do as well. I'm going to take this, which is a wicker floor, And I'm going to place that over the bottom. Just drag it across like that. If I click here and go here, press B, I can do that as well. And then we're going to start building, because I want a roof over this as well. So I'm just going to drag this, build a square or a rectangle. Might make it a little bit longer, so I've got room for a research bench. Just do that. Enclosed, which makes no sense. How would they get in? But you just add a door and click it on top. You can add windows and click them on top as well. I think windows actually take more time to build, but it's fine. We don't need them necessarily, but it looks a little bit nicer. Also, aesthetic-wise, I can click here, and then I can change the... This is just for aesthetic, but it changes it to be like that. So now it's this way. I'll need to manually fix these ones and rotate them. That side's fine, but this side isn't. Oh. Rotate that, done. Now it looks reasonable. It needs a roof though. So I'm going to use wicker because sticks are more abundant than hay. And what I actually might want to do as well, in this, I'll need beds. So any bed will do. Furniture, sleeping spot, this is all we've got for now. I will build 4 because I hope somebody comes to join us one day. To do that, I'm also going to need to harvest. So you can cut, which would actually cut down stuff that's not ready and will provide nothing. Or harvest means you'll only harvest the ones that will provide resources. So I want the ones here. What I'm also going to do is tell Johnny, who's our miner, get rid of this. Oh, I don't want to get rid of that. So if I go here, cancel, drag over it, done. I want to get rid of these paths. So I want to have basically one way in here, which will be here. I think I'll build that a bit far over here, but here's a path up here. So what I will do, so I'm thinking about defense at this point. I will do that, and then I'll do, let me see. Do this, do that. And yeah, probably like that. And then a door here. So now there's only one, once these are destroyed, there'll only be one way into the place, which will be here. Makes it easier to defend. And in order to build all this wood, I need to cut all this down. Right. We're not finished yet with all the complexity though. Where's our guys? Double click them, and come to here. So if I hold control and use my scroll wheel, you can see what layer I'm looking at. So because we're on a mountain, the layer, we're already close to the ceiling basically. So that can move up and down. So you can see underground and mine underground, things like this. So now is a bit of a complicated thing if you've never seen this before, which is jobs. So they're already set relatively okay, but obviously I will manually do this. And this is something you might change from time to time, but generally you can set it and forget it for most of the time. Firefighting, I'm just going to say that is very high priority. Patient, that means getting medical treatment. Convalesce means staying in bed and healing. So I want them to do that as well. So that's their highest priority. If they're wounded, they're going to seek treatment, and they're also going to try and rest. Tend is to actually heal someone. So Mary's the only one that can tend, really. I mean, they can if they wanted to, but Johnny has 0, Mary has 24. I'm going to set that to, I'm actually going to set that to 1 as well. So it's the highest priority that she tends when someone's wounded. I'll also go to manage, and there's self-tend. So because nobody in the community is a tender or medical, Mary will need to tend herself if she ever gets injured. Urgent haul, now that is going to be related to this. So you would never have this like a lower, you would never have this as a 5 and this is a 4. That would make no sense. So It would always be urgent haul. If I show you, if I was to say, I can click on this and say urgently haul, and that means they will haul it to where it should be. So it should be placed now that there's a space over here on this stockpile. So this accepts warfare, weapon, ranged, longbow. So there's a space for that now, so it can be urgently hauled. It's scheduled to be hauled regardless as a normal haul. You don't see that, but if I clicked urgent haul, it now gets a marker on it, and I can also cancel the urgent haul. So that's when you need something moved as a priority. And you can also, when you have dogs, this makes more sense. The dogs will follow the urgent haul calls as well. So urgent haul, that would probably be Johnny. I'm probably going to put that to 3. I'm going to put his haul to a 5. So that's, I'm kind of put this as the last thing. They can all do it is when they've finished all their other jobs. Hunting, I'm going to put as a 2. So as long as they're healed, they can hunt. Mary's cooking is also going to be a 2. That's very important that she cooks. So these are the highest priorities. Construction is also for Kyle a 2. So he can pick between these two when they're hanged. And if he's not got a job for either of these, he might urgently haul if there's a job. He will also be doing 3 on alchemy. That's not something I'm going to be doing anytime soon. 3 on research, or probably 4 on research. I would rather, as long as there's nothing else to do, I don't care about art. I do care about this actually. So 4 on stewarding. I actually care that. So stewarding is locking doors, closing windows. You don't have to do it or replacing fuel and torches and razors. You don't have to do it very often, but you do want it to be done when it needs to be done. So I'll actually set 5, 5, 5, 5. So the training is relatively new, and that means they'll train their combat skills once I have facilities to train them. So we've got our constructor, we need our miner. He's going to be set to 2. So these 2 will compete, but he's only really going to hunt when I've scheduled animals to be hunted. So I want him to prioritise it when I tell him to do it, which is what will happen. So if I told him that's our animal, so I don't think we can hunt it, but if I told him to hunt this deer, that's the only time that there's even going to be availability to do that job. So it can stay high because I'm only going to allow them to do it when I manually tell them to do it. So grow, also, this is very important. I'm going to have that as 3. Although, no, for now, I'm going to do it that way. And that's because cutting plants is cutting down trees as well. That's very important. Because he can sort of cook, I can have this as a 4 as well. So he can help cook if he's not got any other jobs to do. Carpentry, actually I'll have this as a 3 as well. And I think that's it. Mary's research. So Mary, oh yeah, let me see, fish, animal husbandry as well. So these are going to be 3s. Goders can be a 3 as well. Sorry, Goder is relatively new. This is where they'll be, prison warden. It's a prison warden separate and different, but it's providing food and also, you know, stripping prisoners or taking them if they have to do work and stuff. It's determined by speechcraft, which is why Mary has some skill in it. Tailoring, this is actually very important, but not as important as cooking. So again, a 3, there's a lot of clash going on with Mary at 3, but it's just life. And this can be a 5, this can be a 5, even though it's unlikely we were going to be doing those. So that's kind of long and complicated. I hope it makes sense. It is daunting if you've never seen it before, but it's just the logic of, you know, it doesn't matter if these clash. Well, it does to a certain degree. You wouldn't want to set everything as 1, otherwise they would just be run around. But once you know their behaviour and what they're likely to do, I wouldn't want them to be changing jobs often. Like I wouldn't want him to have this both at 2, so he goes and mines and then he's cutting down trees. I don't want him doing both, because the distance between them, I'm going to have him mining soon, so I'm going to have him mining a place for us to control the temperature of our food, like to preserve it. So I'm going to mine down here into here. That's going to be quite important, but for now, the most important thing is to cut trees. So I might change that. Once I have more settlers, I'm going to be less concerned about having to change it more often, as I'll set it and forget. and just occasionally, you know, tweak it here and there. With all that done, let's go. Let's see what they do. Yeah, actually. Johnny's the best hunter. What's he got? Has he already picked it up? Where is the bow? Have you got the bow? You do. Drop it. Drop it. There we go. So I just pressed R, which means a recruiter, and I can control her for like a positioner or for combat. So Johnny, equip that. And Kyle, equip the short bow. No, yeah, move it away. Short bow. Mary does not have much skill in marksman or melee. She actually has 0 in marksman. She's not really a fighter. She's not designed to be a fighter. So let's have a look. If I go to overview and I go to items, I can go to ranged and see there's my ranged, and I can click this and it'll show me what it is. A sling. So it sounds good for Mary. It gives her distance. Generally you always want to fight at distance. Otherwise your characters are going to get hurt in a fight. And I would rather just not take any injury and win the fight that way. Oh, sorry, Mary's still to unrecruit. So I can do that here, or I can press R. I would recommend learning to press R because it's in combat it'll be important to draft them quickly. If they get attacked by a boar or something. You can also use R to reset, so he's going to do something. I can double click it and it'll reset what he's doing. So it can, if I change his priorities, that's a good way to reset it. I actually need I need to do a lot of stuff. At the beginning of the game there's so much to do. A campfire, butchering table, I can go here. I do want to set up mining here, so because this is soil, it should be easy for Johnny to mine. He'll do it quite quickly once he's finished chopping trees and stuff. Some of this stuff's going to deteriorate quite fast, so if I click here, it's rotting fast. That's normal for food. This will rot outside. If it's indoors, you can generally preserve it indefinitely. Certain things, food obviously doesn't preserve indefinitely, but if I bury it, if I'm not bury it, but if I put it underground where it's cold, so if we look here, the temperature is here, and in the shade it's cooler, so it's actually in a cool spot, but it is on crappy ground, so the ground decay, and there's weather decay, there's also temperature decay, and water decay, I guess, is also a modifier. That would only happen if it was in war. I need to think about some defences here as well. Probably pushing it a bit, but let's get that there. There is a problem where like people could get in here, so they could just walk along this. So I need to take this up a height, which I will do. But I will take the wooden floor and I'll give it a slight overhang. And then these are Merlin, which will protect us from incoming arrows. So when we're up here, we're protected from arrows and we can shoot arrows at them, while this will intercept the arrows that are coming towards us, or it should. I think it has a percentage. Cover effectiveness 55%. So pretty good, but no, you can still get hit generally. Here we will do that, and then I'll just build a little vintage point. If they're coming this way, they're going to path and go down here, and then I can, from up here, I could do stone actually. That's probably a good idea because it's abundant. For aesthetics, I can do that and do that to give it a corner, and you can also do like an end one. So that would go like this. Yeah, I don't think that looks right. Probably that. But I'm actually just going to leave it normal. Maybe actually I change all of these. Well, just grab one. Cancel. Yep. Now the reason I've changed that to limestone is that because we're in the mountain, all of this is limestone just readily available, already just sitting there, ready to be used, while wood is actually somewhat scarce. We will need recreation. So it's always backgammon. I wish they would add some more games for them to play. I'm going to put this on the edge of the cliff. It'll probably look quite cool, I guess. I might be able to build bridges here in the future. This is going to be handy for wells. So the wells will be used to collect water to put out fires, because fires are newly introduced to the game. And the build work is going pretty well. Stuff's getting moved here, which is good. Once it's got the roof on, it should be preserved. For aesthetics, I can do this with the roof as well, just make it look a little bit nicer. I can change it to wood, logs and things. I'll change it to that. This is a temporary building, it's not going to be here for forever. Eventually I'll probably build a big castle with limestone bricks. Right, he's gone through all that wood already. So how much wood's waiting? 499. When I'm double clicking on this, everything on the screen is getting highlighted. So if I zoom in here, double click, you can see 200, and then I could, priority haul these or something. Even though I can't, for some reason, don't know why. Oh, they don't have Stockpile, that's why. So let's actually give them one. So remember, I removed them from this stockpile here. I do want to pick them up, there's no priority. So here is where I will keep wood. I'll clear everything, material, raw wood. And I will also grab this, copy it, the flooring, because wood can decay on bare ground. No, some mining's been done. And what's next? That needs to go. It's actually quite a high priority. Yes, good. He's getting these. I only want our enemies to have one way in. It means we only have one way in, but I can always build a stair and a door and things. Or alternative routes. At the beginning, because it's on hard as well, I'm more concerned about initial safety from being exposed. Because normally every fight in going medieval, you're outnumbered. You have to fight smart. So research bench is going to be important as well. It's actually very important. Just stick it there. Oh yeah, I forgot. Let's get this done. So the wood's done, and we need other raw materials, which can sit in the rain. I'll just put them here. Clear all materials, raw materials, all of them, but we'll remove salt. Wood. Sticks can maybe stay. I don't know, I actually might just copy this and put sticks somewhere else. Those sticks can go here. Wood and sticks can go here. And I don't know if this roof is actually technically over this. I don't think it is. Glare. Oh, I can speed up time as well. You can see the time up here. The game speed can be times by 5, normal, 2, or paused. That done. Above the staircase here. So what I'm going to do, dig. So if I go down to the layers, this is the layer I want. I want to go like that. There'll be a door here, and then hopefully that's not too big. So there is stability. In fact, I'm not even going to risk that. Stability is typically 4. Well, it needs a structurally supporting wall, otherwise it could collapse. Same with buildings. Every building needs stability. I think they have actually changed some of the stability though. And it can be buggy sometimes, but hopefully now it's much more stable. I kind of need that built. So I can tell Kyle to prioritise that. Speed up time. So the campfire is where we're cooking for now. And that's Mary's job. So I'm going to do meal until you have. And that just means she'll keep cooking until there's 10 meals. The ingredients, if I click on edit, can be shown here. I'm going to remove red currant because red currants is good to make wine. Everything else is fine apart from human meat. Any fuel. So you can also set which fuels can be used. And it looks like Mary's straight to it. She's cooking now. And I will also set her to butcher because there's quite a lot of animals sitting. Now, if I hold shift and click, I can go up by 100. If I hold control and click, we can go up by 10. It's a handy way of doing bulk rather than manually clicking it 100 to 200 times. This is all iron if you're wondering, which I can smelt in the future to make metals. So because we're on a mountain, we've not got a lot of land to grow on. So I'm going to have to be considerate of that. I think up here I can just grow. I mean, it means that it's exposed to our enemies, but the enemies, I don't think they're going to attack farmland. They will attack structures, which reminds me, it's always a good idea to put bait where you want them to go. So I'm going to put bait here. A lot of people use campfires. I think it looks better to use this, a pyre. A pyre is what you use to burn bodies, and normally I would burn the enemy's bodies on these. So, if the enemies come to attack this, we'll be up here shooting arrows at them. And they'll even go around in here. They are going to be changing, or have they just changed the AI behaviour of the enemies though? So the AI are going to start to attack in different ways, attacking in groups and a little bit more intelligent, which will make them dangerous. And they will also, they already do actually set fires, which I guess against this wooden wall is a bit of a danger. Let's have a look at that info. I would normally tell you how fire hazard something is. Oh, this is finished. Good. Now we can click on research here. We pretty much have to learn this. This is like a joist, wooden beams that allow you to build taller and wider structures. Pretty important. And then agriculture to be able to plant, which I will do straight away, the planting. So you'll get that in here. When something new happens, when you research something, it sort of signals it with these little beakers. So we can only really do cabbage. That's the only thing we seem to have seeds of. That'll be Johnny's job. I can also plant trees for long term, which I might actually do. You know what? What have we got here? Oak, maple, maple, field maple. Plant a bunch here. Plant a bunch of oak here. That way they'll plant them, and then when they're fully grown, they'll come cut them down themselves manually. So you'll get a rotation. Cutting down trees when they're ready. Another thing is when you look at trees, it speeds up time when they all sleep. This tree's fully grown to 50, that's its max, but some 45 as well. This is like a sort of dying tree's dead, but it still has a high wood concentration. This one is growing, so it's still young, 84%, so it only gives 15. So you're better to wait for that one to reach full maturity to get 50 wood rather than 15. And that's something, so this is mature. So you can manually do that to get, when you're in the mountains, this is sometimes something you might need to consider, because you don't want to chop down young trees. You have a limited amount of trees. Once I've chopped down all these trees, I'm starting to need to go further and further afield, which is more time consuming. Did they build their beds? No, they didn't. Damn, we were close. So maybe that can be it for this episode. More soon. Well, let me know what you think of this new content. It's very different from what I normally make. Speaking off the cuff and using noise cancellation is not the usual way that I would make a video. It's also obviously tutorial heavy and not as entertaining as my other videos, but do let me know what you think. I'll still be making videos in the usual way that I make them, but if this is a content that people like, I can make more of this. As always, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.